Welcome in, everybody, leading off right here on Fantasy Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and we're happy to have you here again on Leading Off, sponsored by BetMGM. And my host today is the mayor, Mike Maher, who really supports this entire show. I'm just a sham. I am just a front man. Mike Maher basically powers this entire program and this entire Fantasy Pros site, it seems like this week, too, with our boss off. So Mike Maher doing double duty. He's hosting. He's doing lots of things. And very successful at that because he called yet another home run right. You've got 2 on the board. I have 0 still. I started off slow last year, so this kind of feels like maybe I'm just the guy who doesn't like the month of April. But Mike Maher, it's great to have you back on the program today, my friend. How are you?
It's great to be back. And like you're saying, I didn't realize when I agreed to do the show this week that my boss would be off this week, and so I'm regretting that decision a little bit right now. But happy to be here. And I may power like the stats behind the show, but I know I can just put whatever I want in this sheet and you're just going to run with it anyway. You don't even have to look. You're like Ron Burgundy. You'll just like go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, I will totally read whatever's in the show sheet, right or wrong. I just take it. I just assume it's correct. By the way, you have one fan here. Riley Hoffman says, hell yeah, it's Mayor. So obviously your cousin.
Riley is also the power behind the Dinger bot in the Discord.
Well, Riley, you just went up just one small tick then in my book. Also, Smalls is finally we get some good baseball advice with Mayor. Oh, man, this is a tough crowd. By the way, today we're going to go through our home run calls a little later. We got some props for you. We're going to talk DFS too. It's a very weird slate on FanDuel today, the way they've broken it up. We'll get to that later, but let's start with some of the good things that we saw last night. And if you listened to us yesterday, and you're on DraftKings and you paid Jesus Luzardo along with Alex Cobb, Mike Maher, I think we did okay last night with that pairing. What do you think of those 2 guys' performances last night?
Yeah, they did really well. I don't have.
You can't get analysis like that anywhere, folks. Yeah, they did really well. You like
well,
that?
I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
they're good. They're good at baseball. Luzardo is. I don't think I have any Luzardo shares. I do have some Cobb shares because I wanted to get some of that Giants magic, and of course his velocity is already up. So. He was like sitting at 95 last night, just with whatever the Giants do to like make these pitchers better. And he had some good metrics, which makes sense is why the Giants like went after him in the offseason. And then Luzardo is just a wild card. So
yeah,
he was going because of how he finished last season. He was going richer for my, too early for my taste in some drafts. So I don't have any Luzardo shares. I do have some Cobb shares, but 12 strikeouts for Luzardo, 10 for Cobb. It's a pretty good night.
Very nice. Yeah, I've got Cobb sitting on my bench in my home league this week. So there you go. Good stuff. But that's okay. That's okay because it's hard. I've got Scherzer, Verlander, Hunter Greene in that league. I have Garrett
so your
Cole.
team is so good that you can't.
My team is so good. I was like, I can't sit Max Scherzer for Alex Cobb. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see things go. All right, let's get some of the headlines from last night. We'll start with Darvish, shortest outing of his career versus the Giants last night in that same game with Alex Cobb. So first off, for the Diamondbacks was great, right? No hits there for 6 innings. And then yesterday, 1 2/3, 9 earned runs. Is this a great opportunity to go buy Darvish everywhere? I think it is. What do you think?
I think it is. I'd be a little scared. And, after that first start against the Diamondbacks, everyone was kind of like, is this him locked in or is this just the Diamondbacks? And, since we're going to stream against the Diamondbacks every game pretty much this entire season, and it was probably a little bit of both. And
a little bit of both.
Yesterday was about like as bad as he has looked ever. I think I saw it was like the shortest start of his career.
Yeah. And look, for Darvish, I know he's another year older, but he's done this before. And in early bad starts, don't worry me. That's not something. As long as the health is fine, that's the only thing. And yeah, it should scare you, but scared money don't make money. You got to go in there. You got to try, especially in a pitching market where we're always looking to buy.
Scared money don't make
it's
money?
A saying, but you could pretend I just made it up. That's fine also. Seiya Suzuki, I didn't make this up. He went deep twice yesterday through 4 games, hitting .417 with 3 home runs, 8 ribbies, 4 walks. He looks great, but I always caution everybody whenever you have somebody come over. In fact, earlier today, I was on Matt Williams' show, friend of ours, friend of the program here. And we were talking about Suzuki, and I was talking about, well, if you remember when Marcus Thames came back over from playing in the international leagues, he came back and he was a house on fire, and then you found his, the problems he had. I remember Kaz Matsui getting off to a great start. Look, Suzuki might be better than all those guys, but I think the point I'm trying to make is this run that he's having here is great, but I expect his best run to be at the front of the season where people are still new and they're just going to challenge him with fastballs. Yes, it's a good matchup against the Pirates. Sure, we like where things are going with all that. But when he faces better pitching and there's more of a book on him, I start to worry. So I'll put this to you. What do you think of Suzuki, what you've seen so far? Are you buying in, or is this another guy too perfectly sell high candidate in terms of what he's doing so far? Maybe it's not sustainable.
I think you can kind of say yes to all of those things. I am buying in. I am a little concerned. I'm sure I would sell high depending on what the offer would be, but I'm kind of the opposite. I'm happy that he started strong because the worry is that, he comes over and he struggles immediately and he just looks lost. He's at least proving he can handle major league pitching. Even if they adjust to him, he's at least kind of showing that he can do this for now, and he looks fantastic.
He does. There's no doubt about that. All right, let's move on to another one here who else looks fantastic. How about my boy, Luis Robert? So Welsh is gone because he doesn't get, he's gone the day that I take my victory lap on Luis Robert, who's got 4 stolen bases. So already on this year, that's the thing. My bold prediction was a 30-30 year from Robert. He's got 4 steals already. I'm loving this. And who knows, maybe off to a good start with the MVP. What are your thoughts on Luis Robert? Homered and stole 2 bases yesterday. Not too shabby. He's got a 375 average and a 1037 OPS. What are your thoughts on early Robert that we've seen so far in a week?
I love it. I'm also in an auction league with our good friend Dan Harris, and it's like a semi keeper league where you have to like keep people, and then you have a salary and decide whether you want to extend them and stuff. I made one of the worst baseball decisions of all time when I extended Kristen Yelich for $44 out of like a $200 budget, so that was horrible. But I do have Luis Robert. Very excited, especially about the 4 stolen bases. He's leading the league in stolen bases. Like you said about some other players, health is going to be the concern. Is he going to stay healthy for a full season? And what does a full season from Luis Robert look like? And also, you mentioned Welsh was off for today for your Luis Robert victory lap. He's also off after an 0-for-5 Byron Buxton day.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's kind of an odd timing with all of that, but I'll be sure to bring that up to him. I'll be sure to sip my tea when I do in my little Star Wars mug that I've got today. Look, he's a one of those forest stormtroopers with the speeder bikes. That's what I got today. But
you always have so many fun things where you are.
I do. You know what? You sit here in the office all day. You need a little bit of whimsy. That's what I say. So I got my Star Wars mugs. I've got one too where you pour it in there and all of a sudden like all the lightsabers light up. That's pretty cool. Let's take some questions from the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Here's a good one from Mr. Freeze. I'm in a 12-man category league with 2 keepers. Just got offered a trade where I received Wander Franco and Shane Bieber for Trey Turner and Luis Severino. Your thoughts, Mike Maher, on this one while I sip my tea?
I think I would take it. I'm not as high on Wander Franco. I always feel like I say his name weird.
You do
as others, but Trey Turner.
Maybe it's because you put a question mark at the end of it. Wander Franco. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I would take this just because like Franco plus Bieber is more value than Turner plus Severino. Even though I like Turner more and I'm not as high on Franco as others.
I agree. I am high on Wander Franco, and I say it with authority. No question marks in my voice. Wander Franco. But yeah, I think that combination's a better combination. As much as I like Trey Turner, you've got many more years ahead, I think, of Wander Franco. You got like a decade of Wander Franco coming up, at least the Rays think so. That's why they gave him all that money. Trey Turner, what do you got? Another 3-4 years, maybe? I mean, if you can keep them forever, Wander Franco is such a star. All right, who else is a star? Stephen Kwan, with a new segment we like to call Your Daily Kwan. So Stephen Kwan has yet to have a swing and miss through 115 pitches that he's seen so far through Tuesday's games. This is the lost art form of contact, and I like this. I like what Stephen Kwan brings to the table. I know he's got a ceiling. Maybe he's a 10-10 guy at best, but I think if you're in a points league and you picked up Stephen Kwan, I think you just ride this train as long as it lasts. But what do you think about this Stephen Kwan run? It's the best first-year run I saw on MLB Network since Jay Bruce, who is not necessarily a big contact guy, which I think was kind of ironic, but one of the streakiest guys you'll ever see in baseball, right? Like, remember the Jay Bruce months where he'd look like an MVP and then months where you're like, are they going to send this guy down? But Stephen Kwan, I mean, I keep saying in points leagues, you ride this wave. In Roto, I get maybe he's kind of capped at a certain degree, but he's going to give you a batting average. So what do you make of the early Kwan? Because we talked about it with Welsh yesterday, but I want to get the Mike Maher take on it.
Yeah, I mean, Welsh made a lot of good points. I feel like he was a little bit too Debbie Downer on Kwan, but like you said, like home run steals, you're probably not going to get a ton of either one. But I mean, batting average and just like putting the ball in play right now. I mean, who knows how long this is gonna go for? And if the Guardians, excuse me, kind of like fall off, maybe he does run a little bit more. Maybe he does steal 15 bases because those bad teams tend to let their runners run a little bit more because who cares? So like, I mean, there we have a lot of players, especially like this season. It seems like that are going to be kind of like boomer bust, like power guys with low average. If you can sprinkle in a Kwan there and kind of like build a perfect player with two players, with his average and maybe run some runs and stolen bases, take it. Let's have some fun and ride the magic.
I like to sprinkle in some Kwan wherever I can. Oh,
Yeah.
good old Kwan sprinkle. Never
And
hurts.
last year we had Today and Shohei. Now this year we have the Daily Kwan.
Yeah, we did have Today in Shohei. Now it's your Daily Kwan, which I kind of
Okay.
like. I like the Kwan.
Yeah.
I always reminds me of Jerry Maguire when Cuba Gooding Jr. is talking about the Kwan. I don't know if it's the same spelling or not, but whatever. It's fine. Let's go to Joe's Tough Guys. Again, this Tough Guys is, this crosses all genders and all platforms here. So I don't want to get into a pronoun argument here, but Alyssa Nakken became the first female coach to take an on-the-field appearance in a major league game yesterday. So congratulations to Alyssa. That's huge. It's very important. The women in baseball we saw earlier, last week, not a couple weeks ago, last week, we saw the Yankee manager. It's great to see baseball becoming more encompassing, more inclusive. And it's great to see the women in coaching in the NFL and in Major League Baseball. I think it's fantastic. You're seeing the NBA, you're seeing it all over the place. So it's great. So congratulations to Alyssa Nakken. Also, Alec Bohm, because I'm going to go back here, because if you're watching the Mets game last night, and I was. Alec Bohm came up and pinch hit and got a standing ovation from the crowd. However, I do want to mark, I'm pretty sure 50% of it was sarcastic. I was watching the faces of the people, and I saw some people like, that's our guy. And then I saw a bunch of other people who had probably been in South Philadelphia for a few hours before the game showing up and going, oh yeah, woohoo, like that. So you take it for what it's worth, but either way, it's, I guess, better to be sarcastically applauded than not applauded at all. God knows I'm sarcastically applauded every single day. So good for him. Fun facts. Albert Pujols hit his 680th home run last night. Such a feel-good story, him being back in St. Louis. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. I like it. Juan Soto, his 100th home run last night. Max Scherzer makes his 400th career start today against the Phillies. So that should be a good one. Nola and Scherzer going head-to-head. Let's talk about the stat heroes, Mayor. Taylor McGill, 5 1/3, 5 Ks. Who needs Jacob deGrom? That's all I say. I mean, we have Tyler McGill. So what do you make of him right now? I mean, because to me, this is a dude that's going to make 20 starts probably, at least the way this Mets rotation is set up. I think there's a really good chance that's going to happen. Velocity's up high. He's a big, strong kid. Showed you last year he belonged in the big league. Showed you a good demeanor on the mound. Showalter seems to love him, has nothing but great things to say about him. So what do you make of the early success for Tyler the Terrible?
I'm very intrigued. I was not in I was not in on McGill like coming into the season. I was kind of like, like poo-pooing him. And then I watched I watched that start yesterday, and it was impressive. Despite his like really strange windup where he just stands there and like takes turns to the side and then throws like he's thrown out of the stretch. He talked a little bit about he kind of like he studied other pitchers, like other like large people, large human beings like him, and learned how to like gain more velocity. And it looks like he's not like one of those pitchers who's like really trying to like reach back and throw gas.
He's got good mechanics, very repeatable, easy mechanics is what I look at when I see it.
Casually throwing gas, and it looks good.
It does. And I think, whenever you're around Scherzer and DeGrom and those guys and those kind of pitching minds, it's hard not to get better, I feel like. I mean, I think I kind of felt like watching Chris Bassett, too. It was like another notch from Chris Bassett that I haven't really seen in Oakland, that first start with the Mets. I know it was only the first start. I know it was the Nationals, but still, I just got a little excited about it. And
it was a good juxtaposition to Zack Wheeler, whose velocity was down yesterday.
Now, Wheeler's a guy that I've been off, and you know that. I dropped him significantly in the rankings going into the season. Anytime somebody whispers about a shoulder or anything, I'm out. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the whispers. I don't want them in my head. I don't want them on my team. No good. No bueno. So keep an eye on that. Start making plans. Jesus Luzardo. 12 Ks. No decision against the Angels. We crushed that one. We crushed Alex Cobb. Matt Brash, we didn't give enough love to yesterday. He made his major league debut against the White Sox. 6 Ks for him. Who would you rather have rest of season, Matt Brash or Jesus Luzardo?
That's a tough one.
Oof, indeed.
Yeah, I'd probably roll the dice on Luzardo,
Mm-hmm.
but I would not do so confidently because he scares me. Because that bad Luzardo is still in there somewhere. There's good Luzardo.
I
And
roll
then
it on
there's bad
Luzardo. There's good Luzardo, there's bad Luzardo. I worry about the limitations on both, but I feel like Luzardo has less because, I don't know, the Marlins have less to prove. Just not like, whatever. You want to go pitch today? Okay, go pitch. Like, I don't
and
know.
less to offer in terms of run support too.
That is also true. But also it's not going to be fun going up against the Angels for Brash and going up against the Astros too. Not that the East is all that easy either, but it's certainly close. It's very close. So you
by
out
July,
there,
no one
Peanuts
will be
and
in that
Cracker
Angels
Jacks.
lineup anyway.
If you're in the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks, tell me who you want. You want Jesus Luzardo, or do you want Matt Brash? Give your justifications. Put it in the comments. And if you're watching the video, make sure you smash the like button, please. Again, I need the support on a daily basis. If I don't get a certain number of likes, I get very down. It's a very dark place. It's no good. I need your likes. It helps out. And make sure you subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB channel because we're here every single day at noon taking you through Major League Baseball. So we have JP. He likes Jesus. I'm also a big fan of Jesus from, or the Jesus, as it were, from Big Lebowski. One of my favorite characters ever. One of the funniest characters ever. Although I never saw the standalone movie. Did you ever see the Lebowski standalone movie about that John Turturro character? I never saw it. Is it any good?
I've never seen that. There's a movie other than the Big Lebowski about the Lebowski?
There is. They made it just about his character, but I don't know anybody who's seen it. If you've seen it, also Peanuts and Cracker Jack. So far, Luzardo seems to be winning in this unofficial poll that we're running right now. Let's go to some of the hitters who are good. Marcell Ozuna, 2 dingers last night. Seiya Suzuki, we mentioned he had 2. Sal Perez had 2. Everybody went double dong last night. Of course, I wish I called one of those guys. I did not. Tyler Naquin, also 2 for 3. He's a guy that I've got a lot of shares of in leagues. Just cheap Tyler Naquin. Jose Ramirez had a big day with the home run, 6 ribbies. Ozzy Albies, a home run, 3 for 5. And Cedric Mullins, a home run and 4 RBI. So there you go. You like that, Mayor? You feeling good about that?
I was not feeling good about Cedric Mullins because he was struggling until last night. I don't think I have any shares. I have so many leagues. I don't think I have any shares just because I was a little nervous about like the Cedric Mullins price tag after what he did last year, because he was being priced for just what he did last year, not like any kind of discount. And so that made me a little nervous. So I don't have any shares, but he looks good now.
Wonky Penguin says Luzardo in redrafts, Brash in other formats. That's probably, she's always the voice of reason here on the show. Also, are the balls juiced again? She wants to know, Mayor, you need to do some investigative journalism in your free time. Do you have any free time? And this is the kind of journalism that got you that check mark, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. This is the work you have to do if you want the little check that I have like on the screen right there.
Yeah, I don't even want it anymore. So that I don't care. I don't care. All right, let's
Maybe
get
it's
to
because there's 17 other Joe Pisapias. That's why.
There's only one other one, and I'm clearly more famous, or at least more Twitter famous than him, but whatever, team. Let's get to the stat zeros. You Darvish, Patrick Corbin, so much for a good spring, 6 earned runs, gross, terrible. Daniel Lynch, not good, 6 earned runs from him. Shohei Ohtani, 4 for 25, go buy him everywhere. Byron Buxton, 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts. I recognize that guy. Mitch Haniger also off to a slow start in the year. He's 0 for 5 with 2 Ks. Colton Wong, big 0 for 5. Gurriel, 0 for 4. Lots of golden sombreros last night. Lots of hat tricks, that's for sure, in the strikeout community. Rhys Hoskins also off to a little slow start. And a slow night for Vlad, too. Also, Jared Kelenic, 1 for 15, 9 Ks to start the season. Kirilloff, he goes to the IL. I believe we saw that, right? Yep. Hitting just a $159. So that's not great. Bobby Witt Jr. hitting 100 under 5 games. I'm not worried about Bobby Witt. I'm not worried about Kirilloff. I am worried about Kelenic. I felt like Kelenic should have started the year in AAA, build up his confidence, then let him come back up. I didn't like starting him in the big leagues to start things. I'm worried. I'm concerned both short-term and long-term. Here's my plan. I want to know what you think of it. I think he's going to be one of the most dropped guys in April. I don't trade for him unless it's a dynasty keeper thing. You want to take a shot, that's fine. In redraft leagues, just wait for everyone to drop him, then add him to the bench and speculate that way. What are your thoughts on Kelenic's early struggles, Mayor?
I'm concerned too, because I was buying in this offseason. Like last year was gross. He did finish I don't even want to say strong because he didn't finish like that strong, but like comparatively strong to how much he struggled over the summer, he finished strong. I was hoping like, a full off season, full spring training, which we didn't get, that he would look a little bit better. I still believe in the talent, and I'm still going to like you said, I'm not going to trade for him, but if he gets dropped, I'm going to pick him up. I have him in TGFBI, which isn't great in a big, deep league like that. Nothing I can do there. Like I said on our points mock draft a few weeks ago, this is kind of my worry with Bobby Witt in like in non-points leagues, but in points leagues, I'm completely fine because I figured this was going to happen. Kirilloff, I have a ton of shares of, and I'm concerned because not only did he struggle, but he's back to the IL, and that was kind of what happened last year with the wrist.
Yep. It is. It's no good. Kirilloff was one of those guys who I took as like a utility guy, a little first base, a little outfield, kind of moving around. Don't like it. By the way, thanks JP stepped up here. The Jesus Roll is the name of the movie with John Turturro. And if you're a John Turturro fan, he says it's got some moments. And I am. So I might have to check that out at some point. Thanks, JP. See, I love my peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Always getting the job done. Here we go. Here's another question for you here. Closer situation for the Red Sox. I've got Barnes, but I'm a little concerned. That's from Brant Cox, one of the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. So, Mayor, what's your take on the Boston save situation? You got one?
Great question. I'm in a group text with our old friend Too Much Tuma and Dan Harris, and we've been talking about this for days, especially because Tuma and I are both Red Sox fans, and Dan is in like an expensive league, and he's like, should I pick up Jake Diekman? What's coming up from Matt Barnes? And the answer is, I have no idea. I think they want Matt Barnes to like take the job and have that job. He struggled. I mean, first half last year, Matt Barnes was the best closer in baseball. Second half, which, is a little concerning because it's also when they started like cracking down on the sticky stuff. He was like one of the worst relievers in baseball, and he got an extension. And I think they still want him to take the job. I don't think he's yet to pitch this year because he's been out with a back injury or whatever it is. He's not on the IL, but he's been injured. And then you saw Diekman get a save. Garrett Whitlock, who just threw 4 innings yesterday of no hit balls.
I was gonna say 4 good innings too, and I've got him as an RP in a lot of spots in deeper leagues too. I like Whitlock's arm.
So I think it'll be Barnes, but it's also going to be probably like he might not be like a real closer. He might just be like the head of the committee, unless he loses to like Diekman.
I think you should do is this is like one of those bullpens. I actually want to have all of the guys. Some of the bullpens is not worth investing in all the guys. This one might be because if Whitlock becomes the guy, I think he'd be very good. If the pivot guy is also very good potentially, then have those guys. If the pivot guy is a big downgrade, it's just a pivot, then I'm not so concerned with it. Today's slate, we've got something very exciting too, because at 12:35, right after the show's over, Nick Lodolo is going to make his major league debut. Hunter Greene came out throwing gas that first one. Lodolo, the left-handed version of him. I'm shocked that he's up here this early making starts, but then again, I guess I shouldn't be at Cincinnati. What are your expectations for Lodolo? And are you a Lodolo guy or a Hunter Greene guy? I'm a Greene guy, but what's Mike Maher?
If I'm picking between the two, I'm a Greene guy just because, how fun is he? How fun did he look the other day?
Super
triple
fun.
Digits. I do like a Lodolo though.
Everybody likes a little, what I like? A little Kwan on my Lodolo. That's what, just a little sprinkle of the Kwan on there. All right, let's talk about the home run leaderboard, which makes me upset right now. Up and Adam, Lawnmower Man 4.4, love that name, and JP, who I've got much props for today. So I'm actually happier about this because this is a good people's here, especially JP, who's helping me out with that movie question. They're all up to 3 home runs out of the gate. Very good. JP jumped up from 2 home runs thanks to Sal Perez. That's all you need, that double dong night. So far, Up and Adams up at the top with 3, Lawnmower Man, JP, Mike Maher up there with 2. So that's disconcerting. I need to get on the board in the worst way. Before we get to our home run calls in DFS, I want to talk to you about the prop market because I do have a couple things on my radar for today. And of course, if you're going to make some wagers, head over to BetMGM, the king of sports books, because the king's got an amazing offer for you. All you got to do is use that promo code leading off. That is the promo code. Download the BetMGM app, and you can bet $10 and win up to $200 when you bet on any game, regardless of the outcome. When you register with BetMGM, you get instant access to a variety of parlay selections, features, live betting, player props, boosted odds, and a whole lot more. But you can't get into the fun stuff without that promo code leading off. It's all one word, leading off. So download that BetMGM app wherever you are if you're able to wager And of course, wager responsibly. I like my responsible wagers. And I've got some for you today that are responsible. I think we hit the K prop on Cobb yesterday too. I think we talked about that one. Memory serves, but let's talk about today, because today we've got Corbin Burnes. Right now, BetMGM 6.5 is the number. Projections have him at 8.64 over on the Fantasy Pro side. So that's a differential of over 2. I love that one. I love for him to bounce back against that Baltimore lineup today. Give me all the Corbin Burnes. Austin Riley total bases is at 1.5 on BetMGM. We've got him projected against Washington, who can't pitch at all, at 275, 2.75, I should say. And then Nate Eovaldi, if indeed the weather works out here in this one, a little tenuous situation there. We've already had one game canceled today with St. Louis and Kansas City. But Nate Eovaldi strikeout prop over on the FanDuel side, 5.5. We're projected at 6.37. So a little variance there. Detroit has some strikeouts in that lineup, but the Corbin Burnes one's the one I go to. And that right now you can get at minus 128. Not too bad, but again, I think investable. Any props stick out to you, or any feelings about some of the ones that I threw out there?
Yeah, definitely. And let me say, I'm loving this BettingPros baseball prop bet sheet. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, the prop bet cheat sheet at bettingpros.com is amazing. I go there, and you know what? It helps in the DFS side too.
Yeah.
Because you look at what the projections are and you can kind of see where things it's. For those of you who don't know, if you go to bettingpros.com or the Betting Pros app, there's a little cheat sheet, and every day it's got the variance between the numbers from the houses like BetMGM, and then the variance of the projection, and the biggest ones at the best spot to get the best wager. And you just go right there and bet them right on the site. It's fantastic. So go ahead. There's my plug. Andrew's very happy with me right now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was looking at the basketball one, like leading up to baseball season. And I was like, this is really cool, but it's basketball and I'm not the biggest basketball guy. And I was like, I can't wait for the baseball one. And so I've just been kind of like staring at it every morning since the season started. And the one at the top right now is Garrett Cole over 5.5 strikeouts. And I like that they show you like the what the line is, what the best book is, the projection, and then what the difference is. So like the over under is 5.5. The projection is 8.27. So he's got the biggest difference in projection versus the line. And so like, I've just been like betting like all of these.
and I said it last week. I said it actually all on the Sunday show too, on the TV show I do on Sundays on Sports Grid. I said the K props are coming in like crazy. They're factoring too much. I think the lack of innings pitchers are throwing instead of where Major League Baseball is right now in terms of the strikeout rate being extraordinarily high, and the fact that pitchers are typically ahead of hitters early in the season. That combination is far more important than this guy's only going to go 5 innings. I don't care. He's still going to strike out 6 guys, 7 guys. You see how many last night, 5 1/3, right, from Luzardo, or 5 innings from Cobb. They get double-digit Ks from those guys. The K rates keep smashing those K props until further notice. I will give you the notice. Until then, smash away with me and do it with leading off. Again, that's one word, not 2. We're very economical here on BetMGM. Go get some. All right, let's talk about the slates for DFS, because they're so weird. You got a ton of day games. You got noon starts. You got games that already started. Games that are starting right after. You got games every hour on the hour, it feels like today. So DK has a 4-game main slate. I'm going to talk about that because FanDuel has chopped up the slates in such a weird way that it makes me make that face. I told you before that John C. Reilly gif where he's got the big hair and the glasses. Huh? I think I pretty much did that. So that's going to be that's an NFT right there. Somebody's going to clip that. I know they are. I know my Peanuts and Cracker Jacks. That's going to be up on Discord later. So there you go. I get one more time just in case. Let's get to the
we can rewind.
DK
we don't need to see it again.
Don't encourage them there. Starting pitcher picks. Frankie Montas 6.9K over on DK. Love this one. Same game against McClanahan. This is one of those rare instances where I think it's okay to go into the same game. I've done this before. I think he can do it because I think both offenses are a little lackluster. And if you get one to come out with the victory and the other to come out with a quality start, then you've done pretty well. I continue to go to Corbin Burnes in cash games. Tournaments, I like Montas, and I would say Robbie Ray at 9.4 is another one you could pivot to also. Again, just continue to check on that one. In terms of lineup builders for DraftKings today, Ty France, 4.2. Again, not a lot of, especially on this night slate tonight, not a lot of value to be had. Dylan Moore, 2.8 over for Seattle. Those two guys, Rodriguez at 3.4. Basically, If you go all in on Seattle, you get a little bit of discount there. Stephen Piscotty at 3K, Aaron Hicks at 2.8, not a lot of value. So you got to get pitching right. So either stay away tonight or play Burns or Ray in cash, or instead pivot to the duo of Frankie Montas and Shane McClanahan. You could also mix and match Burns, Montas, but I wouldn't get fancy here. Just keep it simple. That being said, let's keep it simple for the home run calls. Now, Mike Maher, you selected somebody that I was thinking about. So now if he goes yard, I'm going to be super pissed tomorrow. Who is your guy? Who are you calling your shot with? Who's going yard?
Well, now I really want him to go yard if it's going to have the added benefit of upsetting you. So I'm going to go with Freddie Freeman against Chris Paddock and the Twins. The wind blowing out. Sign me up.
All right. That's a good one. I love that wind blowing out. I'm going to go with Pete Alonso, the polar bear. Let's go. Little ballpark there. Aaron Nola can struggle at times, that's for sure. So I want to see my boy, the polar bear, go yard in this one. And if you want to make your home run calls, I'm telling you, still plenty of time to get on the board. We're just starting here in April. What was the number of the winner last year? Was it in the 40s? Did we? What, do you remember that number off the top of your head? Was it 700?
How many? We still have it in the sheet, so I can look right now.
We do. Oh well, look at that. Do we really?
So for me, our overall number, for all of us combined, was 1,282.
Yes, but what was the winning number last year?
The winning number was Randy and Go-Karts tied at 36.
36. Okay, I thought it was 40. So 36, and I probably called 35 just in my sleep, but whatever. Tonight, again, or today, this afternoon, Alonso, Freddie Freeman. If you want to get your home run calls in, you better do it soon. Go to fantasypros.com and look for the Discord chat. So it's fantasypros.com/chat. That's how you join. And again, to call the home runs, you have to have your premium membership ready, which is, again, it pays for itself. If you're playing in a lot of leagues, you want the premium membership anyway, because we've got the tools that help you manage all your leagues in one spot. So you have to keep going back and forth to a million different apps all the time, set all your lineups, do all your things right from there, especially in those daily trans leagues too. And then on top of that, you get access to the home run contest stages with us and all those fun things. So that's fantasypros.com/chat. And then you look for the home run call area, which is the little channel there. It says HR.
That's the word you're looking for, channel.
Not home run. It's home run. It's not a human resources, just to be clear. That's a different channel that Mayor constantly drags me into because he makes complaints about me. Mayor, before we head out for the day, any final thoughts on this day of baseball, this slate that's basically all day baseball? Just take a day off work and sit around. What do you think?
No final thoughts.
Wow, great. I'm so glad you were here today. I can't wait for Welsh to come back tomorrow so Byron Buxton can go 0 for 10 over that span. In the meantime, make sure you head over, download that BetMGM app, and use that promo code leading off when you do. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For the Mayor, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.